Hey YouTube, on my road to recovery, still not got my head completely straight. Really don't know what's going on. So looking for an idea for a video. What about doing like guitars that I've got a matching guitar and bass? I'm just messing around for 5 minutes. Yeah, so this is an Aria Pro II laser electric. This is the Heritage model. I think there was only one guitar in this range, and it's this one. There were two basses. So this is the laser electric classic, but there's also a laser electric Heritage bass, which is basically exactly the same as this, but doesn't have an active circuit in it. So it's like kind of like the matching set. I got this one first, and then thought, oh, why not? So these came out in '85. Aria were kind of doing the old facelift thing where they're kind of using up parts from other guitars rather than making entirely new guitars for 1985. I thought, wait, well, what we'll do is we'll give them a paint job and put different pickups in them and stuff like that. This one doesn't have its original pickups. This has actually got Ibanez pickups in it, a V2, which I think is worth more than I paid for this guitar, and a V7, which is the one you get in. I think you still get it in top of the in like your Ibanez Prestige range. Still use them. Strat trem, 3-way switch, volume tone. It does have a factory coil split, which splits both the pickups. Yes, it does. This is a bit sticky actually. I was going to say it's got replaced tuners because these I've not seen these ones on an Aria before, but they're actually branded Aria Pro, so they must be. Again, it's a 3-piece neck. This is satin finished, which I was wondering if someone had like sanded it down, but I don't think so, because unless they took the tuners off to sand it down as well, because it's all kind of that sort of satin finish. This neck is very similar to. This is what I'm saying. We're using up bits. I mean, not necessarily parts that they had already, they already had in a box, but the neck on this is very similar. Just everything wise, apart from that, just got a maple fingerboard. So I think I don't think this was when I say they were using up extra bits. I don't mean they had like a box of necks they needed to use. I mean that they already had the designs and stuff. So they thought, in the design stage, they thought, well, we'll use this neck, and then we'll make a couple hundred of these necks, a couple hundred of these bodies, and blah blah blah. Yeah, so made in Japan. If you're not into the Arias, generally on the back of the neck plate they say Aria Pro II accurate bolt-on system, because it's a not inaccurate bolt-on system, and the serial number starts with the year, so it's 5 for 85, and then all the Japanese ones say made in Japan on the back. Yeah, so just go to bed. Clean for 2 seconds. Bridge pick up. Neck pick up. And then coil split neck. Both coil splits. I could actually bring the action down a little bit on this one. It's always a danger when you get a guitar in that kind of plays pretty good anyway, and I quite like it. I just don't never really bother really doing my own little thing to it. Whereas if I get a guitar that doesn't have a neck on it, when I put it back together again, I'll set it all up, make it all as good as it goes. This one, I haven't really done that. It was kind of fine when I got it, so I'm sure it could be tuned. Or tune's not, you know what I mean by tuned, like the way you tune a car. You can just make it that little bit sweeter. Let's try to get this video down in length. US Dream pedal. What was I playing earlier on? AC/DC. Missed it. Yeah, even though I've been using this loop pedal for years now, you still got to get it right. Kind of comes comes in when you try and do like a sort of a staggered start to a riff rather than just starting on the beat. I'll go to bass. Then I can end with a bit of stupid soloing on the with having bass and guitar on it. Why not? Yeah. So as I said again, 1985 serial number starts 5. This bass actually, one of the reasons I bought it was it looks very much like Cliff Burton from Metallica played something sort of similar to this. Something that's on the same page of the catalogue as this. This is just lower down. Not a huge difference. See, once you get a guitar up to a sort of pro level, obviously it's nicer having the neck, neck through, or I don't know, this is active, does have more pickups and fancy binding and all these things, but they don't actually make the guitar any better. And that's where I really love these Arias. West Tone do the same sort of thing, where they're producing guitars that are basic. This is a pretty basic bass, especially, well, this has got the active switch. Without the active switch, it's a really basic bass. And then the bits they spend the money on are great because they're always built really well. So it's not like these days where you buy, the cheapest Strat you can buy and it's built like someone's just built it like that. Next, it's like they spent the time. It's not just a case of, for the more expensive Strats, they'll buy nicer wood and they'll spend longer time in the frets and all these things. They kind of did all that with this because they're not made of rubbish. You don't really get in this era in the Japanese. They went that way later on, late 80s, early 90s. They started realising, hold on, we're selling a guitar here for 200 quid that's pro level. Why are we? It's costing us 150 quid to make it and we're selling it for 200. Why don't we just spend £30 making it and then sell it for 200 and make it look the same? Welcome to modern guitar building. It's like, as long as it looks good in the catalogue and people buy it, it's like. And also, especially if you're selling beginner guitars, or like entry level guitars, people who've never really played the guitar before just go for the shiny one. Oh, that's nice. Oh, look. Oh, look. We'll play that. It's got a Floyd Rose. That's a good idea. No, it's not. Floyd Rose is not a good idea for your first guitar. Whereas if you're going for like the pro market, like people who've played, like me, or I've played for 20 years, people who've played for 10 years or something like that, they can pick up a bass like this and know it's really good. But they're unlikely to be buying the cheap, like a cheap one. They're going to be buying the more expensive one. So they go and look at some of the Aria basses you get to, and the guitars as well, this era are just ridiculous. The most ridiculous fret markings, ebony and brass and through neck and just proper heavy duty. Yeah, so this one, basically, it's not quite a P bass. Mind you, I kind of had arguments about that, but what that is, it's basically a Strat, isn't it? The thing that makes it seem as less like a Strat is the fact it doesn't have a 6-a-side headstock. It's got 3 on the side. I suppose a little bit of this, what makes this not quite a P bass is the fact it's got the, it doesn't have the 4 tuners on the one side. But so there it is, dead centre. P bass pickup, only pickup you ever need. Actually, one of the reasons I bought this was because I needed another pickup for my ZZ bass. That's another Aria there, which only one of the pickups works, and this one has. Well, this pickup is the same, but the bass was awfully good, so I couldn't. The problem is because it's a funny shape. It's not just a P bass pickup. If it was just a P-bass pickup, then that's fine. I don't mind. I would just put any old pickup. You can buy a good one. You'll buy a Seymour Duncan or something like that, or a Fender one. But when it's an odd shape, it's like you kind of got. Have you got a pickup that fits in this hole? You know. Tone all the way down. But that is with the active on. See, the active doesn't really make that much difference. Now active, and this is it on the bass boost mode. We've got the other way, it's treble mode. Treble, so treble pickup, treble boost it, treble-est, and then should probably talk about the active system. So it's not active pickups. So when you're in, like, there, your neck pickup, or middle main pickup, the whole PJ thing kind of bypasses me a little bit. I've not really got any use for the trebly thing. Although if you look at what was going on in 1985, you know, your Duran Duran and stuff, that kind of bass playing does use, or maybe your popping and slapping and stuff does need this, but for like a rock bass player, kind of don't need it. So I'm just using the neck pickup here. So when you're in passive mode, i.e. when the battery runs out, incidentally these have apparently got atrocious battery life in them. It's an 18 volt circuit, so it's two, what's a car reversing? I've got two 9 volt batteries, and lots of people complain about them just running out all the time. I don't really play this enough to have noticed. These are still the batteries that I put in it when I got it, but I'm not doing, I haven't even been using it in any bands, so I've not been doing like 3-hour rehearsals or gigs or anything like that. But it's nice having the option to turn it off, so you just like, oh, the battery's gone, I can still play. They're not active pickups. So there we go, the tone at full. If you turn the tone down to half, it does absolutely nothing. It's actually notched in the centre. So in passive mode, the tone control between 5 and 10 does nothing. Right? That's it at the notch. But if you turn it down from the notch, that's where your tone. So it works like a normal passive tone control. Apart from going from 0 to 10, it doesn't kick in until you get to 5, and then it goes from 5 from, you know. Yep. So if I put it back into the notch in the middle and I hit the boost button, it is quite a decibel boost. Only probably not that much though. But if you turn it down, it's a bass boost, and if you turn it up, it's a treble boost. Now obviously you get both pickups. Treble pickup. Treble pickup as bassy as it goes. Well, maybe that is a usable sound actually. Yes, I'm really just talking about the active circuit there. This was only maybe a 5-minute video. I just can't stop talking. Yeah, so this is the same circuit that's in quite a lot of these. This is a Matsumoku built guitar, so it's the same as what you get in a West Tone Thunder, or a West Tone Thunder 1A, 2A, or 3A, the A being active, meaning it's got this circuit in it. Kind of old school 18 volt thing. The 18 volt, I think, rather than it being like a pure 18 volt because it's better than 9, I think it's just in 1985 they hadn't really worked out how to make an amp that was like a power amp, a preamp that worked on 9 volts, so they just had to use 18 sort of thing. But I have absolutely no issues at all with the quality of this era of Matsumoku built guitar. You know, you're up over $1,000 to get one like this, to get something this level now, new, easy. I keep getting, you know, it's like there's a lot of, what do you think of this? My Squire Classic Vibe P bass. Oh yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I know. It's a great buy. Yeah, but it is. It's fantastic. It's as good as this one. Oh God, no. You know, it's like it's just not. It's not the same league. There's so good you can get. It kind of works the same for the guitars as well. I mean, I'm not. Am I a snob? I've kind of learned. I've honed in recently in the last 10 years on kind of when to buy guitars. It's not. I'm not buying these because I do quite like the look of it. It's a little bit more interesting. Even though it is all jet black, it's slightly interesting. It's not really that interesting, is it? It's the quality of them that gets me for the 80s Japanese stuff, rather than the crazy shapes and the mad designs. But did I actually put bass on that? Yeah, okay, I'll put some bass and guitar in some solos. And whenever you've got two basses on at the same time, obviously it just turns into an absolute mess really quickly. Such is the nature of the bass. I'll just go back on and try and finish this up a little bit. Right, playing some mad lead, and I notice this has got a tremolo arm on it, so I'll give it a go and see if it's actually going to hold tuning. Tremolos generally don't hold tuning. I do have a couple of guitars that work. There's so much to go wrong or clean. managed to talk for 20 minutes without saying anything constructive whatsoever. Yeah, so the reason I did that is because actually, when I was looking through my... So you'll find yourself doing that. You kind of end up justifying things just by going, oh, well, I've got the matching base, so... I don't know, I shouldn't really have bought this. I was more curious. The thing is that I was in the knowledge, I knew it was an excellent guitar, even though I've never seen one before. I knew just from the fact of when it's from and who built it, and it was going to be fantastic. I bought the bass. It's one of the ones that, although I occasionally say I'll never buy any more guitars or anything like that, when you're looking about in Facebook Marketplace and eBay, sometimes you can't not buy them. I mean, that was at a price that, like, for a bass that worked, it was a bargain, regardless of whether it was a good one. If that was, like the cheapest Squire P bass, and I bought it for that price, you would have gone, wow, that was cheap for a bass that works, no way. And then even this one, it wasn't exactly expensive. It's just so happened, it's like, you look at it, it's fate maybe, because I've never seen one of these before, and then about a week after I bought that, suddenly it's like, oh, there's a guitar version on eBay, and it was, it didn't go for very much. So some other people had seen it though. There was a point where I was totally getting it for 70 quid, and I was thinking, haha, and then, I was sitting there watching it, in the last 10 minutes, there was two folk bidding against each other, two amateurs. So I was like sitting there going like that, you're right, it's going in half an hour, that's fine, 70 quid, no bids. I'm totally on this, I'm going to wait till the last second, bid 100 quid and get it. So I was sitting there and I was like, oh, half an hour to go, and I was like, oh, 70 pounds, someone's bid, okay, that's fine. 72 pounds, okay, 74 pounds. What are these people doing? And it's like, so basically it was like, right, we've still got 20 minutes to go, so I'm going to bid £102. So do you want another 20 minutes to think whether you want to put it up to 105? And then that person went, yeah, okay, I'll put it up to 105. Here's another 18 minutes. Do you want to put a bit more in? And I was sitting there like, watching this go up in pound increments. You know what I mean? It's like, maybe it was two of his pals trying to do it. I don't know. I don't know. There wasn't anything ropey about it. It's just sometimes, the joys of eBaying. So I think I got it up to about 100 and I think they went up by £2 increments, about 20 bids between these two folk, up to about 130 or something like that, and then I just waited till the last second, 150, bang, and then got it for 140 something. Which you look at 140 quid, as in when me and Scott were in looking at a guitar shop, that gets you the cheapest like Squire Strat, or I think you get the Bullet one, but that sort of area, you're getting the cheapest guitar you can get. That works, and yeah, I'm getting a pro level one that's it's not vintage looking, it's vintage, it's 1985, so it's like 35 years old. Plus I was kind of aware it had that V2 pickup in it, which I know are worth a lot of money. I don't know, is it that good? I don't really know. That's holding as good as you can imagine. The other thing you get with these is when you look up just wee bits. It's like that's where the Matsumoku stuff really came into. So it's all Goto hardware that's on these things. So like the bridge is steel, not some sort of pot metal. Steel saddles. It's got a massive block in the back. It's like what you get now on a £500 plus guitar, not what you get on the cheapies. And again, it's like, looking at how much things cost back then and things cost now, I don't even know how much this cost in 1985, but I'd imagine you're probably talking about the equivalent of about 1,200 quid or something, which, let's be honest, if I saw this for 1,200 quid, or a modern version for 1,200 quid in town, I'd really buy it. But that's the quality level you're at. And it's like, it's not quite a Strat though, is it? Is it maybe a wee bit like a Fender Lead or something? It's just... I don't actually have a Strat hanging up just now. actually took this down. My pal Ali, the drummer in band Kraken House, but I actually gave him a 4x12 cabinet, and he bought an amp to go, like a wee 5-watt Epiphone head. And he had his other band down a few days before. He was like, but yeah, I had it running. It's like, sounds pretty good. This guy had this pedal though. He really needed this pedal. It sounded awful, just plugging straight into it. So he had this big pedal board and it sounded brilliant. Like, you just need to get that pedal board. And I was like, all right, give it a shot. Stuck this guitar straight in, bang, 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 bang. And Ali was like, how'd you do that? How come when the guitarist in his band came in and tried to play it without a pedal, it sounded absolutely awful, and for you it sounds pure brilliant like that? I just said, that's expensive. A Japanese guitar? I don't know. Or maybe I'm just brilliant. To be honest, I think there's an awful lot to do with how you play. I think the reason I can play with like this sound is because that's what I like doing. Give me a guitar that's got like, you know, like when people do finger tapping, so I can't really play that because it's like you can't hit the strings hard enough and stuff. It's a really personal thing. But just for me, it works. Playing with, I don't even know what you would call it. It's a sort of tubey, drivey. I don't know what sound it is I'm using. Yeah, so there's no fuzz Thursday this week because I've run out of fuzzes. I've actually, oh damn, I've done it now. I was going to do phase Thursday, spell phaser wrong as well because I do actually have two flavors. I've got a flanger as well. What else have I got that starts with an F? Or it could be changed to be flanger and phase, and the problem is I don't really know how to use those things. Anyway, another 20. Sorry it's long again. But I'm back and I'm enjoying having somebody to talk to. Being locked up's not that much fun. I seem to have got over the COVID a bit, although I do, it's like just this whole standing up talking, it's like sitting watching telly doesn't really take that much effort, but actually standing up playing the guitar and talking and stuff does, so I'm kind of feeling myself getting a bit worn out. Rock and roll!